Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So today we have a plethora of Star Wars news. We're going to be talking about Eman Esfandi, Temuera Morrison, and we have some new leaks for Star Wars Ahsoka. But before we get into any of that, I'm gonna plug something really awesome. Over on Patreon, I just released my two-part series breaking down the brilliance of The Empire Strikes Back. In the first part, we talk about the themes, George Lucas and Irvin Kershner's process, and why it still holds up to this day as one of the best sequels in cinema history. In the second part, I break down the score. You don't want to miss it, the link is down there in the description. But on to today's video. We've had a lot of Ahsoka news as of late, and today that continues, because Getty Images accidentally re-released some Ahsoka HD stills. They're pictures we've seen before, but this time they've included the episode titles, so we know when certain scenes take place and when certain characters appear. This is really huge. And massive spoiler warning, Ray Stevenson's character Baylan and his apprentice Ivana Sakno's Shin appear in the first few episodes. So let's begin. This caption of the two of them together, the two assassins for Thrawn, is from episode 101, season 1, episode 1, the Ahsoka premiere. Oh, and by the way guys, we assume it's just going to be a one episode premiere. I don't think they're going to do what they did for the Kenobi show or Andor season 1, where it's multiple episodes on the first day. The assumption is it's one a week for 8 weeks, so this is from the first episode. Also, the Ahsoka frame where she's got her arms crossed, looking at the hologram of Hera Syndulla with her yang in the background, that's also from the first episode. In regards to the live-action version of Sabine looking at the Lothal mural before they set off to find Ezra, that only takes place in episode 2, so I suspect when it comes to the pre-Mando stuff, setting up the show and the characters, a recap, all of that seemingly takes place in the first episode. So Sabine Wren does not have long hair for very long in this show. Episode 1 is going to get us up to speed on what the characters have been up to since Star Wars Rebels, but the events of the epilogue take place after Mando season 2, at least according to Dave Filoni. So that's going to be in the Ahsoka episodes following the first, 2 and beyond. So Sabine's long hair is only for the years she's been on Lothal before they set off on their quest. And I think that's all in episode 1, because by the time of episode 2, they're ready to go and search for their friend, and Sabine's cut her hair short, and also, she's got her Mandalorian gear back on. We assume this is when they set off. Again, Ahsoka's not wearing her white robes, but that may have been changed for live action. The Ahsoka the white stuff could be later. In either case, meeting on Lothal takes place in season 1, episode 2. As does her fight with a mysterious Inquisitor. Some fans are saying it's the 8th brother, the hands don't really match, and if he survives Star Wars Rebels, this is a very interesting way of doing it. But that lightsaber duel takes place in episode 2, so we don't have to wait too long before Ahsoka gets out the 2 white blades. Also, in episode 2, this frame. In episode 3, we seem to catch up with Hera Syndulla and the New Republic, and in episode 4, we revisit the Inquisitor. So it seems as though they are going to be a persistent threat throughout the show, not just in one episode. We've seen this planet in the trailers. It looks a lot like Corvus, but with pink flora in the background. It feels like it's a mystical place, and throughout the show, Baylan is going to be there. Ahsoka, of course, this Inquisitor. They seem to be chasing her. If this is Corvus, could it be a different place? In Mando season 2 we saw Caladan and the surrounding areas, but this could be entirely different, a new planet altogether. It might be like Dagobah, a planet with strong force energy. I'm super excited, and all of this lightsaber stuff seems to validate what Natasha Liu Bordizzo said when she made the claim Ahsoka has tons of lightsaber fights. It's going to be persistent. Awesome. In other Star Wars news, Eman Esfandi is reading Heir to the Empire by Zahn. That brings a huge smile to my face. I brought this up a couple of times in previous videos. The Ahsoka cast, of all recent casts for Disney Plus Star Wars projects, seem really adamant to learn more about the Star Wars universe and also do their homework about the things that really concern them. In the case of Ezra, he didn't exist in Star Wars Legends, but his rival, the rival to the New Republic and Ahsoka, Grand Admiral Thrawn, did. And this of course could just be him trying to learn more about what Zahn wrote. Zahn of course consulted on Star Wars Ahsoka, but it also tells me that maybe the rumour of Dave Filoni's film being called Heir to the Empire, or being inspired by it at least, might be true. And either way, I think it's safe to say Ezra Bridger is going to be a big part of that movie. I don't think he's going to die in Ahsoka. The whole point is bringing him home. This might be me just reading into it too much, we all do that as Star Wars fans, but maybe this picture of him reading it at breakfast was shared for a reason. Just a small hint. He often does this, Before we had the most recent teaser trailer, he was tweeting stuff out a couple of days before, so it is part of the marketing inadvertently, so let's wait and see, but this is a very good sign. I love when Star Wars actors are also Star Wars fans. We know this is the case with Eman Esfandi, of course Rosario Dawson, a massive Star Wars fan, not just of her own character Ahsoka but also the films, the other shows, she's a diehard. And so just staying on the subject of Ahsoka and Dave Filoni's film for just a moment, the ending of Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie may have already been revealed back in 2017 in Star Wars Rebels, at least according to some fans who remembered a very special episode with the Bendu and something he said to Thrawn. Did Bendu predict the demise of Thrawn in Dave Filoni's film, because he's going to appear in the Ahsoka show, but we expect he's going to be around as the big bad of the New Republic, at least for a while. In the Season 3 finale titled 0 Hour, Grand Admiral Thrawn attacks the rebel base on Atollon. After the battle is over and the Ghost Crew escapes, Thrawn comes face to face with the Bendu, the one in the middle, one who's both light and dark. As a result, Bendu was insanely powerful, and Bendu tells Thrawn, "I see your defeat, like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace." Now this was paid off at the time in the Star Wars Rebels Season 4 finale, when the Purrgil literally wrapped themselves around Thrawn, and he and Ezra were launched into hyperspace. But could this come back to have a different meaning? Could this prediction be more long term? Some fans think maybe. He was then taken to hyperspace, but the Purrgil returned in The Mandalorian Season 3, and they're no doubt going to appear in the Ahsoka show too. Could the Purrgil once again, in Dave Filoni's 2026 film, be the reason for Thrawn's demise? Could this prediction in Star Wars Rebels have two meanings, one for the way Season 4 ended, but also Thrawn's ultimate death? Let me know down below. In other Star Wars news, this past weekend, Temuera Morrison, the man himself, Boba Fett, Jango Fett, the face of the live-action Clone Army, was here in the UK for London Comic Con as Showmasters, and I've seen through various fans, he said some really awesome things. He complimented Ming-Na Wen, the work they did on the Book of Boba Fett together. He even did the Like a Bantha bit. It's always great when he does that. He's a lovely man with an infectious energy, and he loves talking about Star Wars. Also joining him was Danny Trejo, the Rancor Keeper. And it's interesting because according to a couple of people who were there, he compliments his experience playing Jango Fett just as much, if not more, than his experience as Boba. And he's made it no secret, Attack of the Clones is his favourite Star Wars film. His experience with George Lucas was his favourite, was the best in his opinion. If you remember around the time of the Book of Boba Fett releasing, he had some complaints about the way Boba was in that show. But Tem is wonderful, and I hope we see him in the Ahsoka show as Captain Rex, or Boba Fett, or both, or maybe Wolf. So share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you, always.